Now in a food processor, I have half of an onion that I just quartered and chopped, and I'm just going to puree the onion. I'm just going to add a little bit of water. That's about half a tablespoon. Now I'm just going to take that pureed onion and put it in a fine mesh strainer. We want to remove a lot of the water that's in this onion, and you just want to kind of squish it down, and you can see how much water is already being removed. I have about a pound of ground beef here. To that I'm going to add 1 packet of the Laziz Asian Cuisine Seikh Kebab spice mix, and then to that I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of pureed onions that we kind of drained all the water out. I have 1 tablespoon of egg. I have 2 tablespoons of cilantro. I usually, if the cilantro is starting to go bad and I have it in the fridge, I usually just chop it up and put it in the freezer. And then for these kind of recipes, I just throw in the frozen ones because you're going to cook it again anyways. And then 1 tablespoon of Crisco. And you just want to mix all of this together until it's blended well and combined. All combined, I have a silach here. I'm not sure where you can get it at. I'll see if I can find a link and post it. This one's from Pakistan. I put a little bit of canola oil in here, and I'm going to wet the silach and then take, let's make these into four sections, and take a ball. Hold on. I think it's easier without gloves, to be honest. You take one and then slide it through and make the Seikh kebab. You can put this directly on the grill, or if you don't have a grill, you can do it like how I'm going to do. I'm going to bake it in the oven and then fry it in a skillet just to give it more a crispy outing. Once it's done, you just slide it off, and then you have the traditional. So it ended up being 5 Seikh kebab. You kind of want to make them thin, don't make them too thick. I had the oven preheated at 350 degrees. Now I'm going to lower it to warm and then stick the Seikh kebabs in there and check on them 5 to 10 minutes and see if they're done. Now after about 10 minutes on around 200-250 degrees, this is how it's going to be. You can eat it like this straight away, or you can do what I'm going to do next, and I'm just going to saute them in a frying pan just to give it a nice golden brown color on top. Put my Seikh kebabs in here, and I'm just going to fry them very briefly until it gets a nice golden brown color on top. You don't have to do this step. I personally just like to do it. You could also make a big batch of these and then freeze them right after they come out of the oven. Let them cool down to room temperature, and then once you take them out of the freezer, you can fry them up like this just to bring it back to life. Now for Chapli kebab, I have 1 pound of ground beef. I have 1 tablespoon of Crisco, 3 tablespoons of pureed onions that we drained the water out of, 2 tablespoons of fresh cilantro. I have 1 tablespoon of egg, and then the Foodjabi Laziz Asian Cuisine spice blend, and we're just going to mix this together until it forms into a cohesive ground beef ball. Now to this, once it's mixed, I'm going to add 1/4 of a cup of diced onions, and you also want to use 1/4 cup of diced tomatoes. I just don't have any on hand, so I'm just going to skip it. And you want to mix this well and then form into 4 to 5 equal patties. Now for the Chapli kebabs, I have the heat on pretty high. You want to basically sear them on the outside first and then lower the temperature so it cooks on the inside. You want to also make them pretty flat because they do shrink once they're cooked.